3 boxes of Flesh and Blood Monarch, unlimited. Can I break even? I'm Chris Steele, and this is Tabletop Game Talk, a show where we talk about all types of tabletop games and tabletop gaming topics. Today, I am going to be opening more boosters of Flesh and Blood. I opened 4 boosters of Flesh and Blood a couple days ago. These are Arcane Rising and then Welcome to Wraith. And I was able to pull 1 legendary, which I sold on eBay for $250, which is great. Sold almost immediately. And yeah, I made about half my money back, so I did not break even on that. But these are empty boxes. And now I have 3 more boxes of Monarch Unlimited. I had 4. I bought a case. This is my other box here. I opened that one off camera just to get a feel for how this was going to go. Actually, I did that before I opened my other boxes, and I didn't pull anything of any significance. I pulled quite a few mystics. I think it's mystics is the rarity that they give it. Mystics, mythics, same thing. Majestics is the term they use. No legendaries though, and majestics in unlimited, except for very few of them, aren't really worth selling. So we are going to keep opening boosters, and as my normal openings go, I will give you some commentary on what I think of the game in general, but I did most of that in my last video, so I'm done talking anything negative about the game. I like the game enough where I am willing to spend money on it, and if I am able to make some money back by getting rid of cards that I don't worry about because I'm not hyper competitive in the game, I am more than happy to do that. I can't count and talk at the same time, but I'm fairly certain that that is the foil, and then these are the rares, and then we have our tokens that we'll set off on. So what I'm going to do here is just talk about Monarch. This is actually the first set that I started playing, I believe. Yes, this is the first set. I had to double check because Monarch Unlimited just released, and I was playing the Draft Monarch at my local game store, and that's how I kind of got into the game. So it is the one set that I know more than any of the other sets. And by that I basically mean that I've played the Blitz decks, I've played against all the different heroes, I've played both the light heroes, I haven't played any of the shadow heroes. And yeah, so here's our first mythic, which we'll set aside here. This one, Celestial Cataclysm. It's listed on TCG Trader as about $20, which means it's probably closer to 5 or 10. It's not a card that is worth selling. So if you watched the last video, and if you got through the whole video, that's awesome, thank you. But I talked a little bit about, this is a foil rare. I talked a little bit about selling on eBay and basically how the prices of the cards are really what you can get for them, not what they're listed for on TCG Player. Let's put these. So these are going to be my foils, foil commons, foil rares, and majestics. If we get a legendary, we'll put that over here, or maybe even a close-up. So I talked a little bit about selling them, and I opened an Arc Knight Skull Cap, and I should know that because that's one of the chase cards actually, and that chase card I put up on eBay for $250, and what I got was an instantaneous sale, practically instantaneous. eBay takes 15%, so I made about $200 off that sale. I spent $400 on the boxes to get that one card, so I'm down $200. This is a game that's worth investing money into, so that's completely fine by me. So I think this is a foil majestic. I think it's in that slot. So we are just going to set it. Well, I will set it here. This is our cool cards. In fact, maybe I'll just put my Majestic 6 here. And then we have 2 more rares and our token. Deep-Rooted Evil is not on my list. So the way that I'm pricing, not pricing, but deciding whether or not these cards are worth looking further into to see what they're being sold at is by using TCG Player as a way of ranking the cards, and then based on their ranking, if they're basically above the fold. If TCG Player is putting it in $100 or more, then it's definitely worth looking into. And there's a pretty big jump. The most valuable card I opened in the last box was Luminaris, which is a light illusionist weapon. And that one went for, what is going for on TCG Trader, it's listed as $25. And if I go online, I can see it dropping quickly. So it was $300-400, then $50, then $24, and it just keeps going down, and I don't see any selling. So it's not one that it's worth selling. Plus, it's the only one I have of it so far, and I actually do like the Light Illusionist, so I'm probably going to keep that card just to play with it, because I'm looking for big cards to sell, like that one, not little cards to sell. So, Vestige of Soul. This one, now TCG Player says this one is priced at $525. Now that is most certainly not the case. This is a chest equipment. Whenever you pitch a light card, if a card has been put into your hero's soul, this turn gain a energy. And Blade Break, if you defend with this, then destroy it when the combat chain closes. You can defend for 1. But I don't think you would ever do that. I think you would just get the extra resources for this. So let's take a look, and I'm not going to be sharing my screen here just because I don't have that set up. And it only takes a second to do a quick search here. So basically what I'm doing is on eBay, I just basically in the Google search, eBay Flesh and Blood Vestige of Soul. And the first one that comes up is $180, and this is what's being listed. There's also some listed at $525, $550. All of that's great. Listing doesn't matter to me. It means basically nothing, because we want to know what it's selling at. While I'm doing this, I did sell my booster case of Crucibles of War First Edition. I ended up taking an offer of $3,900 less eBay's 15%. And so I was like, okay, fine. So we have First Edition ones. Here's the thing with this set. This set just recently came out with the Unlimited. So this is a relatively new set. So on sold prices, I'm seeing a lot of First Edition stuff. First Edition prices at the time, well, I mean, basically the last one sold, 2 of them sold today. One of them sold for about $300, and one sold for an offer accepted. The original offer was $385. So that's fine. We know that this is not First Edition, but we do have a Flesh and Blood Monarch Unlimited Vestige of Soul Legendary Rainbow Foil Near Mint, which is exactly what this card is, selling for $107. That's the one that most recently sold. That one sold yesterday. By the time you watch this video, it'll probably be less than that. First Edition cards are still pretty high on this one, but they are, like I say, they are dropping pretty fast. 2 days ago, one sold at $550, and then today, 2 of them sold, just around $300 and change. So these cards right here are making it less. Now, I am perfectly happy opening this card. That's $100. I bought 4 of these boxes. I got it from Team Confident, their subscription. I believe it was $300 for 4 of them, so about $75 a box. And that pays back a third of that, and I'm certainly going to be okay with that. If I don't open anything else, I'd be okay with that. Sorry about the glare there. Let me see if I can't give you a better view of this. but I'm certainly not going to take it out of the sleeve. I want evidence that I opened it and put it into a sleeve. Technically, this is an inner sleeve, but that's fine. It's a little bit thinner than your standard sleeves might be, a little bit smaller, simply because I will put that in a bigger sleeve later. All right, let me go back to my sheet here. So yeah, there's a couple cards. This is about mid-level of the legendaries. There's a couple legendaries that are worth less than that one. And then there's 3 that are worth more. So it's about halfway through. And I don't know, maybe there's a bunch that are worth less than that that just don't show up on my list. I honestly, I can only tell the foils by their position in the pack. So I just think that's funny. The foils are so subtle, and I actually like that about the foils. Some of the more foil you get on the cards, the more bend the cards can tend to do. And I like that just every once in a while it catches the side of your eye that, hey, this is a foil, and it just makes it cool. The cards I opened, I did sort through them. I've had 2 boosters per set, and I think I have enough cards in all of those to make some viable decks. Like, I should be able to make some good decks for, or at least I don't know what good is. I'm not, again, I don't do this competitively. I do it for fun, but I think I can make some decent fun decks with the cards I opened. And my local game store has a bunch of singles, so if I needed additional ones, I could do that. I was looking, I got Blitz playsets, so that's 2 of each card in most cases. On the rare sides, which is great. Honestly, if you can open up 2 booster boxes and you get a Blitz playset, that's awesome. Blitz has a maximum of 2 cards per deck, though. If I wanted a constructed playset, I'd have to probably open a 3rd box. I don't really care about constructed. Part of the thing I like about this game is it plays pretty quick in its Blitz format. It's still a little long, but again, I play Keyforge, and Keyforge is very long for what it is, so I am not going to complain. And the art is fantastic. I love the art. I love the nuance of the gameplay. I'm looking forward to what they do in future sets. I'm being a lot more positive in this video than in the past videos, simply because the only thing I really have to say negative about this is the distribution model, and the distribution model doesn't really have to go with the gameplay. If you want to know how I feel about the distribution model, watch the other video. But this one is only talking about good things. And I'm getting a lot of rare foils. Like I said, I don't really care about the foils all that much, but I like the rare foils. They're kind of neat. And I got this one majestic foil. It's almost, I'm certain it's a foil. Like, think that, like, in the background there, you can see that it's kind of brighter and foiled. It's just really hard to tell. I almost wish that the bottom said foil on it, just so I was certain. But if I get a Deep Root Evil normal one, then I can compare. So the way I'm looking for these is I go to the rare, or I go to the first one there, and then back up 2, and then that's our foil. And then this one is just a common, and then you have 2 rares, or potentially there's something else in that slot. All right, if I was just opening this box, I would have made my money back. If I count this against the last box, then I have not made my money back. I'm still $50 down. That's all right. I like Kickstarter, and I spend a lot of money on Kickstarter for games that I rarely play. And this is a game that I really like playing. I'm playing in a sealed, a pretty big sealed draft. I guess sealed is always draft, right? Or I guess, no, sealed is not always draft, but draft is always sealed. Anyway, I'm playing in one of those on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. It's actually being run at a hotel, prepay, all of that. It'll be first edition Monarch, I believe, and that's what's the big deal here, for that one is anyway. So we have a rare. And we have another Majestic. So we get a decent amount of Majestics in there. And by decent amount, we'll count them in a second, but it's not like Majestics are maybe one every 3 packs. I'm using that as a swag, but we will actually count that in a second and say exactly what it is, because this is the last pack and we got another Majestic to do that. So if it was one every 3, we should have about 8 Majestics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, plus the legendary. Not bad. About it. 1 out of every 3 packs has something more than just a rare in it. All right, that was box 1. Making good time. My last video took an hour, and then I stopped, and I did not open any of these. This video, I'm hoping, doesn't take much longer than maybe 35 minutes. If you want to fast forward to the end, I will summarize at the end what we got and go from there. And more packs. These ones open a little better than the Wrath of, or Welcome to, not Welcome to, but Arcane Rising. Those packs were a little bit tricky to open. All right, couple more rares. Can't see the commons on the side, but there's a bunch of them. This pack is split, so that would have been a if you're sold in a store, that would have been, someone would have been mad about that. But they would have got a Majestic foil out of it, so I don't know if they could be that mad about it. Phantasmical. Actually, any of the full art, like I guess extended art stuff, is worth a decent amount. Neither of these. Oh, actually, nope. Just looking at my list here, yeah, neither of these are on my list of top-rated Majestics. But there's a few that are full art ones, and I don't know if those come in packs, if they're special editions, if they're promos. I have to assume they're probably promos, because they're worth significantly more than their just random pack counterparts. So really what we want to see is we want to see a great library of whatever. That's the Fabled in the set. And if you open up a Fabled, you've paid for basically your whatever your investments is for how many ever boxes you bought, up to, well, this one's hard to tell again. This is the last one that sold first edition was $4,000, but I do not think the unlimited version is going to be anywhere close to that, and I also do not think that that $4,000 is going to hold. But right now, I'm certain I could sell it for $500, maybe $600. It's not a terrible card. I don't know that it's like a pivotal card. The Fabled cards are interesting because they're not cards that are bad by any sense of the imagination. They're relatively generic in that you could put them in any deck, but they have their own balancing aspect, right? So like the very first one is, pitch the card for resources, and if you have less life, you gain 1 life. Gaining 1 life could potentially win you or lose you the game, but you can include any blue card and be able to pitch it for 3 and not gain the life. So half the time, it's going to be nothing more than a blue card being pitched. Is it worth, the hundreds of dollars? I don't know. You can only have one of them in your deck anyway. So, like I said, if I was to open one of those, that'd be fine. I will not open one of those in this set because this set does not have that one in it. It has things like Shadows of Blasphemet. And excuse my pronunciation on everything. These are all made-up words. So, I mean, I guess Vestige of Soul is not a made-up word, so I should probably be able to pronounce that correctly. But I'm doing a YouTube video and opening packs and trying to ramble on so that's not a completely boring thing. And occasionally, all the different things going on in my brain at once are just going to miss letters or put letters where they don't actually exist. Which is also why I don't try to say the names all that often. Herald of Ravages, yeah. See, this is why I don't say the names. I want to show you I can read every once in a while, but no guarantee that's happening. All right, about halfway through this box here, and I'm getting better at like just going directly to the foil, the rare, and the majestic. Well, rare and majestic in this case. Put soul food and all cards in your hand into your hero's soul. Oh, that's not a bad card. So the way the light illusionists work in this one is they put cards into their soul, and then those cards put in your soul, they either can, like, if you put something in your soul that turn, it'll power you up. If you have cards in your soul, it'll power you up. You might be able to get rid of cards in your soul to trigger a power. So anytime that it makes it easy to put something in your soul, awesome. On the dark side, they work more with the banish pile. So the banish pile is less of a banish than it is a resource for the dark side. Or the shadow side, I guess. Yeah, shadow. Which is neat. I think up until then, the banish pile was mostly banish. And like for the first two sets, banish was, this card is removed. And now in this set, you are actually going to be interacting with the banish set banish side quite a bit more. Another thing that helps me identify the foils is the little common symbol on foils are slightly faded, a little less, they're not quite as bright, and they are a little bit smaller. So it makes it pretty easy to see those cards than it does if I'm just counting. Now on the other rarities, it's a little bit trickier, the majestics and the rares, because they're colored, they don't stand out as much. So sometimes I come across and like, oh right, this is a rare. It's a rare foil. And there we go. Okay, nothing super special so far. I don't know what the distribution of legendary to boxes are. Again, if I had to go by just personal experience, it's about 1 per 4, which would be 1 legendary per case. I don't think that's guaranteed. I think that you could probably get more or less, but I think on average, that's what they're looking for. That's what you can kind of hope for. Now, I have a friend who said he opened up 7 boxes and never got any legendaries, but he knew a guy that opened up 2 boxes and got 2 fabled. So, luck of the draw. It's probably also why sealed cases are worth more than, so if you do a sealed case that has 4 boosters on it, it's worth more than 4 individual booster boxes. And it's potentially so that it's less likely that what's inside the case has been tampered with. If I have a sealed alpha case, then your first edition case, then you can be pretty sure that the boxes inside of there are first edition. Reshrinking is not, impossible. Oh, look, a Deepwood. So we're going to actually see what the, if we can see the difference between the foil and the non-foil version. So, yeah, I'm not totally convinced there is a difference. This might not be foil. It might be foil. Nah, there's no way that's a foil. No way. But the M on here is, so if we look, you can kind of see how that top M, that's the foil one, that circle is much darker than the bottom M, which is a brighter red, which makes me think that this is foil. It's just the foil on this is practically non-existent. And if I'm looking at it like this, I can kind of see a difference. Yeah, some of these foils are really, really subtle. Okay. The rare foils, I haven't even actually too much attention to those. All right, 3 more packs left. Can I get another legendary? Maybe pull a fable? The fable? Chances are no, but I did get another Majestic. And there's our foil. 2 more. All right. There's our common foil, 2 rares, and our token. Last pack in this set. And our foils are rare. That's cool. And 2 more rares. All right. Well, nothing spectacular in that box. So our last box is going to have to carry the break even if we're going to break even. I think, depending on how you count it, I'm down. I count all the boxes I bought. So I bought 8 boxes, 4 of them for 100, the other 4 for 300. So that's 700. I've made 200 back, and I probably am going to make another 100 back on this one after eBay fees. So that's 300. So I'm down $400. So really, only a foiled, or only the fabled is going to allow me to break even and actually come out ahead a little bit. But, you know, a letter legendary, and I wouldn't be overly broken up about it. All right, let's do this. Good wishes. First pack, that's always the lucky one. Actually, that's never the lucky one. We just have a common and 2 rares. Very not the lucky one. Get these there, give myself a little bit of room. So these are my foil stacks. I mean, you're guaranteed 1 foil per pack, so it's not crazy. But that's my Majestic stack. That's not too bad. We're going to do another count once we're done with opening all of these. You know, yeah, that's all right. And we got ourselves another Majestic. I still think that we're going to average about 8 Majestics per box. I don't know what the distribution is. I haven't actually looked too deep into like if there's a guaranteed distribution or anything like that. Just got another Majestic though. It is unlikely that they take into consideration boxes and cases. If you are distributing it that evenly, you're probably not doing a great job at keeping things random. And for something like this, you have to be as random as possible. So my guess, each one of these packs is generated, shuffled, and then spit out. Honestly, I haven't even been looking at the wrappers. The wrappers have 2 different colors on them, and I don't know if the wrappers are also random or not. Looks like it's an every other, so they're not. But that's easy enough to say, okay, we're just going to randomize the 2 different sets of packs, and then in any particular booster box, we put half of this color pack and half of that color pack. It's kind of interesting to have the 2 different colors. I know Keyforge has a ton of different... no, actually Keyforge doesn't have different box art, but there's Magic has a bunch of different colors or artwork on different boosters. It means nothing, just keeps it interesting. I could probably build a fort with all of the wrappers I have over here. That's another foil Majestic. There are ones, again, none of these. Rouse the Ancients. Not on my list. And Nourishing Emptiness. Not on my list. I don't really, like I said, I don't expect any of those to be any major. I get a lot of Genesis. Start of your turn, you may put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. If it's an illusionist card, create a spectral shield token. If it's a light card, draw a card. So you have a lot of light illusionist cards, so this allows you to draw a card, but it costs 4. And which means you need to pitch 2 cards, and then one of them, I mean, you have to pitch at least 2 cards to do it. We'll get to draw a card, and you'll get to put something in your soul, but man, that's expensive. And it doesn't have a defense or attack value on it. Yeah. But it is also an aura, so it actually, the aura, okay, so that's what it is it stays in play. So even though it's expensive to cast once it is cast, then this effect is consistent. At the start of your turn, you can do this every single time. So that's not too bad. Let's see here. And there's our common foil. 2 more rares. I wonder, because I think the legendaries are always foil, so I'm assuming that they will always be in that foil slot. So I don't see it in the foil slot. I'm like, no, sad days. So common and then rare. These are these are not the same rare. This is a red and a yellow version of the same rare. So that's one thing I noticed when I was going through the other cards. There's not a lot of different cards per hero type, but since the mini cards have 3 versions of them, the red, blue, and yellow version, you see more cards. It seems like there's more cards for them than there are. So when I'm making choices, I feel like I don't have a lot to choose from. Like, it's an important decision if I'm going to put the red, blue, or yellow version in my deck. But I'm going to put some kind of versions of those in my deck. And when I do, I don't know. It just feels like there's very specifics. Now, I haven't taken a look at all the generic stuff yet. The generic stuff obviously is generic, and it goes in anyone's deck. And if there's a ton of that, then that's actually kind of cool, because what I can do then is, like, you have your hero-specific cards, and then the generic stuff is what kind of fills out what everyone should be able to do. Everyone should be able to have an attack, right? But only the brute has attacks that are like 7+ or something along those lines. I haven't built enough decks yet. I haven't had enough cards. I've been very limited to just what I've been able to draft or what I've been able to get out of the Blitz deck so far. So when I look at all of these cards, I'm not completely versed yet on exactly what my options are for each of the decks. I certainly have enough cards to build decks. And when I go through and I see rare playsets for like 2 of each, that's good to know, because I expect that the common playsets are just going to be there. I just don't know how many of them are generic. And I could use online and all that stuff to figure these things out, but I haven't. I kind of like, one of the reasons of having a physical card game is that I can play with the cards physically, like manipulate them. And it's nice to use online to reference cards, but I would rather build decks physically for this. There's a bunch of decks a bunch of games that I play that I do build solely online. All of your online only card games you build decks online. So I don't have any problem with that. Arkham Horror, the LCG, I have you just mark off what sets you own, and then when you're building things, it automatically manages all of that for you. For this, I would end up going through all the cards, building a deck, and then seeing if I have those cards physically. And if I do, great, use those. And if I don't, then go out and try to find them, which would be fine, but I just need to play more with what I have. And then I can refine things, and someone will be like, oh, you should really get this piece of equipment, or this card would really work well in that deck. So it's kind of that organically getting things better. But this game also has the ability for a common deck to actually do really well against a legendary deck. I still think it's going to lose most of the time. The legendary stuff has really nice powers, usually has to do with getting additional energy. But you can hold your own for quite a while, and you can pull off an upset. It's not unheard of to be able to do that. So that's cool too. All right, 2 packs left, and we will see if one legendary is all we're going to get. And so far, nothing says otherwise. Before I open that last pack, let's count our Majestics. So again, we had 3 boxes. If there's 8 per, so we should have about 24 Majestics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And we will count that one as a 22, even though it's a legendary. So we're about where I thought. Okay, this is it. This is our fabled Unworldly. Hello, that's a common. Rip Through Reality. Deadwood Rumbler. Bolt of Courage. Spear of Serenity. Second Swing. And then we're going to go the other way. So our token is a prism. And then we have a rare and our rare. And this is going to be our common. Maybe that's the equipment slot. Maybe that's why it's always there. All right, so we have another Void Wraith, Vegetable Leaf, Ghostly Visit, Adrenaline Rush, and if there is going to be anything more than nothing, it's going to be this next card, which is a common, Searching Militia. All right. Hey, I thought it was going to be a Fable too. So we have one card. This one will go up on eBay. This will make me about 1/3 of my money back on these boxes, which is fine. And I'll then organize everything else, and I'll build some decks. And this will probably be the second to last video I do on Flesh and Blood. I'm going to do one more video after my Rise of the Phoenixborn videos are up. There's 2 of those. One as a history of the game. One is a review of the game. And then I'm going to compare these two games because they actually have a fair bit in common with each other. And there's also very significant differences. But the gameplay when I'm playing each of them gives me kind of very similar feels, and the setup of the game and all of that. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do next. But this has been Tabletop Game Talk. I'm Chris Steele. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all those things.